So we have an emoji with some eyes here, but there's really not much expression. We're not giving any kind of sense of an emotion. So I thought that I would try and add a mouth here. So of course I don't want to draw it on the left eye layer. So I'm going to make a new layer called mouth. There won't be any overlapping of the mouth and the eyes, so it really doesn't matter if it's below the eyes or above the eyes. But I'm going to go ahead and use the Ellipse Tool to get me started. If I start right about here, I know that I'm pretty well centered. If I hold down Alt, it'll stay centered. And of course, it's using the existing gradient, which we aren't really going to use. But it gives me the shape of a mouth. Don't go too far. You could do a little one, I suppose. But I'm just going to do that. Now I'm going to make some adjustments to the fill and stroke. This is my favorite way to do it. If we say, let's say the mouth is black, but we want to stroke around the edges, let's try red and see how that works. Now we can't see the stroke, so I'm going to increase the stroke size so we've got a mouth. So those are the lips right there. Now that is just a very basic expression, but we already have an emoji right there. So I don't need to move it because I started in the center. It's nice and symmetrical. It doesn't have to be, but you can certainly then do things from here. Perhaps move it like that. That gives a little bit different look to it. I'm going to undo. But what I want to really get you guys used to doing is manipulating these anchor points directly. So I have clicked and then released, and now I can move that anchor point. I can click on it and then click and drag, and I've got more of a smile. These could be moved up more directly. Again, it will help us find the positions. Let's see if I want it to be like that. Then I go and touch it, and then I can probably find something. So what you're seeing attached to these anchor points are called handles, and they affect the curvature that is to the left of this anchor point and to the right of this anchor point. And really you just have to click and drag and experiment to see just what it does. So I obviously made a mistake, so I'm going to go crazy and then Control-Z undo so that I can, and these handles really give us control over the path existing between the anchor points. So notice the anchor point isn't moving, but we could add some curvature to these different parts. If I grab this handle, of course, it changes what's on both sides as I move that. And the length of the handle is also an important part. Notice how if I can find this handle, I can make it longer or shorter. And that usually just shows how much of an angle. So try and get a mouth that's got some sort of something on there. And then if you don't have an anchor point right where you wanted to maybe make this all wrinkled, how would you do that? Well, there's a couple ways. One way is to find the pen tool and click and hold. And you can find the Add Anchor Point tool. Now, I will actually delete an anchor point so you can see what happens there. So if I get rid of this anchor point, now we just have the curvature between these two anchors, okay? And we can go back and adjust the handles, move them around. If you want anchor points, you simply use the Add Anchor Point tool, and you can put anchor points anywhere that you want them. Now I am zoomed out quite a bit. If you're working on a particular shape, much better to get closer. And then you can go to the Direct Select tool and move these anchor points individually. So there's a lot that you can do to make a shape exactly what you want. If you're drawing something, it does not have to be perfect because you can go back and move the lines where you want them to go, even adding more control points to move things where you want them to. So try and find some sort of mouth expression that you would like to use. And it doesn't have to be the ellipse tool. There are plenty of other shapes in there that you could try as well.